Hi, this is Everett, Everett's Watercolors. Welcome to my studio. Today I'm going to do another watercolor demonstration using my watercolor paints and brushes. And it's going to be another, not experimental, but it's going to be, I'll try to simplify the painting. Today's lesson is to take a painting or photograph or wherever you are and do a little thinking about how you're going to paint it, and then take the simple brushes. I'm going to use the Hake brushes today, the large brushes, and just use the minimal strokes, minimal colors, and come up with a good painting. So I think you'll enjoy that. So let me go to my painting table and let me get started. Okay, so this was this past weekend I went out and I was painting and I did this scene here. It was a little bit of early sunrise, and I was out looking over this tree line, and I saw a pathway down here, and I saw the lower trees in the background. And I saw these two big trees on the side, and it looked like a pathway. And I said, okay. And then as I started painting and so forth, about 35, 40 minutes later, I took another photograph. And you can see here the sun had gotten a little bit higher, and a nice, beautiful path of light across the ground. And that's what really caught my eye then. So after I finished, I said, well, that's what we're going to include there, okay? The path of light. I really enjoy that. Okay, so what I did now from these two views, and I was on location. I also this is the painting I did on location. Okay, this is just a color study of the location and so forth. But it gave me some ideas of what to do. I got that nice light color here from the path of light, and I got the composition pretty well worked out. What I'm doing, got a pathway coming down, and with little background trees here, and a simple sky. So this is going to be my composition I'm going to do today, and I'm going to use the large brushes. So let me put this aside. Okay, all right. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use a large Hake. I'm going to fill it with water. Then I'm going to do a little wet on wet here on the sky, and so I'm going to put a little bit of water on the paper. Get the paper moist. And this is my Gemini watercolor paper. This is a quarter sheet size. It measures 15 inches by 11. 15 by 11, quarter sheet, 140-pound Gemini watercolor paper. Okay, so spread the water. Make sure get the paper wet. All the way across, and you see the glisten of the water there on the paper. Okay, and so I just want to get it wet. Okay, now I'm going to use a large brush to wet the paper, and then I switch brushes and start with the middle-sized brush. Okay. So first thing I'm going to get a little bit of now over here in my palette I got the. I'm going to use a little bit of yellow ochre. This is yellow ochre down here on the bottom right. Get a little bit of yellow ochre in my brush. Get it nice and wet. And I'm going to go in here and get that sky started up here. Okay, now I'm going to pick up. Got the yellow ochre. I got the yellow ochre in there, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of blue, which is my ultramarine deep blue. Use the same brush. And I'm going to come across here now and put some clouds up here in the sky. A bit of shadows over here on the left side over here. Put a little bit of Payne's Gray in with that. Tone that down just a little bit. A little Payne's Gray, a little bit of Payne's Gray in with that blue, ultramarine blue. Get that a little bit darker up here in the sky. Okay, so that's my first wash right there. Get the background started. A little bit of yellow ochre and ultramarine blue. Now I'm gonna dry this up a little bit now. Now I'm gonna work on the middle ground. I'm gonna put those middle ground background trees, middle ground trees there in the background. So I don't want the paper completely dry. I'm gonna have it just a little bit damp. And take some more of that ultramarine blue. I'm gonna get a medium value of that. A little bit of Payne's Gray in that. I'm gonna go back here now. I'm gonna put those background trees in. There's the trees in the background, way off in the distance. I'm just using the corner of the brush here to make a little irregular edge up there, and then come down into this is the horizon line just about right here where I'm moving. Horizon line just about right there. That's my eye level of the view that I had when I painted this on the scene. So these background trees were dark because they were in shadow. And the sun was behind, so these were backlit. Okay, all right. Okay, that's a pretty good background trees. Okay, let me go ahead and dry this. So using the big brushes and lots of paint, cover the paper real quickly. Again, we're looking for a simple shapes. That's the first thing you start with. We don't get any detail yet. We get all the simple shapes, the simple values. The lights and darks starting to grow up there. This will be the dark area. Dry the paper off completely. This is my Ranger dryer, which is very quiet here, so I can talk over the drying process. Make sure it gets dry. Now check with the back of my hand. If it feels warm, it's dry. It's over here a little bit drier up in here. A little bit drier. Down at the bottom. Okay. Okay. And then the paper always stretches a little bit when you put water on it. So I'm gonna tighten it up here. Use these little clips on the side to tighten the paper up a little bit. Keep it stretched. And see, I don't want to use tape today. Just want to go ahead and do it naturally. Just keep it spread out. See? All right. So there's the beginning of the background and the so forth. Now I think I'm going to go ahead and get the pathway in. That's my next step. So I'm going to take the middle-sized Hake again, and this time I'm going to take a little more Payne's Gray now, because the pathway was and a little bit of burnt sienna, get a little warmth into it. But what I'm going to do now is start out with a pale light value here in the background as I come forward. So I'm going to start here at the pathway. I'm going to start over here. And I'm going to give that a sweep, and I want the values to be a little bit darker here forward. And the pathway gets a little bit wider as I come forward. A little dry brush stroke, a little texture here on the pathway. Okay, and what I think I'll do is on the back here, I'm going to blot this out, make this a little bit lighter in the back, coming in forward. A little bit darker as I come down here. Okay, all right. So I got the pathway in. I think what I'll do is add a little more bend here to the pathway. Okay, now it's going to dry by its own. Okay, now I'm going to start planning on the, let's see, put the middle ground here. The middle ground here is this grass. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, let's clean the brush. See, I've got blue and black in my brush. I'm going to clean it out. And the way I clean it out, I rinse it in water. Then I come in and I squeeze it real good on a towel. And that eliminates, it cleans out the brush with what was in the brush before. Put it in the rinse bucket, squeeze out the bristles, and then you come in and squeeze it on a towel, paper towel. And here I've got a terry cloth towel. Okay, and that's completely clean. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix up a little bit of yellow lemon. And a little bit of Payne's Gray. Mix up my greens here, okay? Put more lemon in that, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put in the light path that I saw, that path of light. I'll put a little more yellow in there as it comes out, because the sun was coming across those trees and it was hitting. So I'm going to play with this just a little bit more. Get that path of light. Now as I come forward, I'm going to make the green a little bit darker because it's the path of light is lighter up by the middle ground. As I come forward, it's a little bit more, put more water in my brush. Large brush strokes. This Hake brush holds a lot of paint, a lot of water. Okay, so we'll let that dry now. That's the green grass over now. Over here on the left, it was in shadow, so I can go ahead and put some of that shadow color over here. Greens. The grass over here is going to be darker. Mixing up my colors over here. Use some of that color over here. Okay, all right. So I got the middle ground in, the grass coming into the foreground. Now I'm going to rush up my brush again. Rinse out the brush. Okay. All right, now I'm going to dry this area down here. The Ranger on, drying the paint off here down the bottom. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to start to put in some trees now. I'm going to take my rigger brush. This is the number 4 rigger from Holbein. It's synthetic, but it's a nice brush. And I'm going to mix up a little bit of green and little blue. Ultramarine blue mixed in with a little bit of this is burnt sienna. And I'm going to put a tree in over here on this side. This tree will go right in here. I'm going to get the general shape in there first. Now I'll draw in some branches. Using the tip of the brush for a fine line. Just getting a few branches started here with the main trunk and some branches off to the side. Okay. Now we got this other tree over here on the right. I'm going to put him right here. And he comes right on up. Get some branches on this one. Okay. We got the form of the two trees. Now we start putting a little more sizing on that. So mix up a little more burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. Now we'll work on the size here. This one here was the larger one of the two, so we'll make the base a little bit bigger. Yeah, I'm following this photograph here. You can see lots of branches up here on the side. This larger tree over here. I'm building the limbs and so forth in there. Just give me a little more definition. I'm not going to paint every branch, but just enough to indicate the type of branches, the size of the tree. So we're just building an imaginary subject, but using a reference that's really there, but making lots of interpretations, making artistic decisions. I want to have a variety of shapes, a variety of size, and location. So as an artist, that's all we do. We take a shape and then we can improve it. We can move it around a little bit, get the spacing right, where we want to have it located, how far, and then you want to make how big it is. Then you worry about, once you get the size and shape and the value of what you want, dark or light. This tree is backlit, so everything here is going to be dark because the sun is behind the tree coming up. Put enough branches on here to make this believable. with all the leaves. We'll put more leaves on it. So like this, then we'll start adding leaves to it. Okay. And I'll work a little bit more on this little tree over here. And I get a better shot of it on this one. The little tree, it's a little bit smaller, but it's on this left side. You see the trunk there. It runs up a little bit less size than this one here. So it's going to be a smaller tree. Build a base where the roots are on the bottom. A mixture of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Give me a nice dark brown for the trunks and the limbs. Also, the tree is a symbol here of the landscape, but because the limbs are, it's a good way also to bring both sides of the painting together. Use a little connectivity, a little bit connectivity in the painting. Having a tree with branches reaching out across the painting. Make these branches a little more believable size. They start out thicker at the base of the trunk, and then they move as they go out. They get smaller and thinner, which is what happens to a tree. And limbs. Okay, now also there's a couple of small trees way off in the background. I'm going to add those in too. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put one back here. Just going to put the trunk in. Show the background trunk silhouette. Another one here. And one more. Okay. And let that dry. I'm going to put put some foliage on that one also. Okay. Okay, I'm going to dry this, and we'll put the leaves on. So let's get the dryer. I think what I'll do is I'll pick up a little bit of that thick paint. Make those a little bit less defined. One back. Yeah, that's a little better. I want the tree trunks to be there, but they're not that visible because they're in the back, toward the background. We'll dry off the paint. Drop some oil on the paper. That's okay. It'll dry. Okay, test it with the back of my hand. It feels warm. So now I'm going to go ahead and take the Hake brush again, and I'm going to put some leaves up here in the branches. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'll rinse it, make sure I got all the dark colors out of here. Rinse out the brush. And then I'm going to dry it out, and then I'm going to rub it into the towel here. So I get a nice rough. You can see the edge of that. I'm making a nice textured look. Okay, so I got I just pushed the towel. I pushed the paintbrush into the towel, wiped it out nice and dry. Now I'm going to pick up some paint. I'll start with a lemon yellow, and I'm going to this color. The sun's coming down this way, so the branches are going to have a more yellow showing, a more lighter value here on on these outside branches. So I'm just going ahead and just going and hitting the. So I'll start out with the lemon yellow. Over here I'll do the same thing. This has a little more foliage on it, so I'm going to put a little bit a broader stroke on this. I'm going to draw off my brush again. Put it out. Okay, now on top of that, clean out my brush. Now I'm gonna put a little bit of blue in my brush. Mix up a little more yellow lemon with the ultramarine deep. Okay, I'll let that set for a minute. And what I'm going to do now, I've got these background trees I had here. I'm going to take a little bit of mixture of dark, take a little bit of that blue, mix it with a bit of green, and I'm going to put a tree shape back here with these trunks. Now these were a little bit. The background was behind, but these were a little bit forward. Right on almost on the horizon line, and very hard to see because the backlight from the sunrise made them almost disappear into the background. But I'm going to go ahead and emphasize those right now. These are those middle ground trees right along the edge of the horizon. One more over this tree over here. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to add a little more definition here in the background. I think along the horizon line is a little shadow pattern. So I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine blue and a touch of burnt sienna and a little bit of Payne's gray. And I'm going to go, there's going to be a little shadow back here, base of the background trees over here. So I'm going to have this, it's going to be a dark edge area. These are low bushes along the edge of the forest, or trees, but tree line. I help define that area just a little bit. I'm using the edge of the Hake brush, the very edge, and just touching the paper very lightly, and putting a little bit of texture in the background there. That's the shadow along the bottom of those background trees. There's some low bushes back there along the edge. Okay. Also, I'm going to take some yellow. Take some yellow lemon. And I'm going to go along the edge of this pathway. Over here, this is where that path of light came through, and it was very, very distinctive here. So I'm going to make this really, the light against dark, really come out. Put some more yellow here. The path of light was across the middle ground here. This middle ground grass. Okay. All right. Now what I think I'll do is the last final touch. I'll use my spray bottle. This has got the green number 1. This is my palette in a bottle dot sprayer with a white top, and it's got the palette in a bottle. Sold exclusively on Everett.com, and this has got green number 1 in it. And so I'm going to take that. I'm going to put a little more green up here in this tree. Light tapping motion. Over here also, a little bit up here. Okay, then I'll take a little bit of that ultramarine blue. I want some clumps of leaves up here, so I'm putting a little bit of blue on top of that yellow, on top of that yellow green number 1. Yeah. Okay, I think the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a figure back here. So I'm going to take a little bit of Payne's Gray with a liner brush, small liner brush, and I'm going to go ahead and put in a figure right here. Walking down. And I'm gonna put a little doggy out here. There. Yeah, so I stuck a figure in that. Okay. All right, I think I'll do is take this, let me blow dry it just a little bit. Okay. And let me wipe up a little bit of the extra moisture up here at the top. Okay, let's put a frame around this. I'm going to take these clips off. I'm going to put a frame around it. So this is another experimental painting using the large Hake brush. And let's see. I'll move this out of the way. I can move my frame around anywhere I want. That's about right there. Okay. Show a little bit more of the foreground. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Okay. Well, there's my path of light coming in the morning with the sunrise, and I got this pathway, and I got a figure here walking in the morning, taking a little dog for a walk. Okay. So that concludes my my painting for today. So let's go back to my main camera. Oh boy. Oop. Main camera. Okay. All right. Okay, that was another good painting. I think number one, it was something I already painted before. I was there just freshly over the weekend, and I did that little demonstration, little color study that I did there on location. And I thought I'd bring it back here and play a little bit more with the larger brushes, my Hake brushes, which are becoming really a real favorite of mine, because they covered so much material so fast. They cover the page real quickly and so forth. and then adding the details on top of that to make it interesting, and so forth. But I thought the sunrise, the path of light was a very interesting effect today. So I'll be back again next week with another watercolor demonstration, and also today I've got another paint along with Everett. Simply drawing with Everett. I got a little drawing exercise later on today. So I hope you'll tune into that one also. If you're subscribed to this channel, you'll be notified of my next video. So until next week, you all stay safe. Give me a thumbs up and a like. I appreciate that. It goes a long way and helps with my rating. So until next week, until the next video, bye.